Hello, in this video we are going to review finding slope from an equation. So if you are given an equation in slope-intercept form, you should be able to quickly find the slope. And so what is slope-intercept formula? It's right here. It's y equals m times x plus b, where m represents the number that is our slope and b represents the number that is our y-intercept. But a lot of times we think about slope as vertical change over horizontal change. Graphically, we like to think about it as rise over run, but what does that really mean? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about what that really means. This is just a reminder that on slide 15 of your part 2 notes on linear functions, we actually practiced finding the slope and the y-intercept from an equation. So make sure you take a moment to review this slide in your notes from part 2 of linear functions. But today we're actually going to talk about what does that mean graphically. So I'm going to find the slope, the rise, and the run of each of these equations. And I'm also going to talk about which direction am I running and why. So for this first equation, whatever's being multiplied by x is always going to be our slope. So for the first equation, I know my slope is -5. Well, what does that mean in terms of rise and run? I can write this as a fraction. -5 can be written as -5 over 1, which means that my rise would be 5 and my run would be 1 to the left. And the reason that I want to go 1 to the left is because this is a negative slope. So I want my line to be pointing upwards to the left. So if I'm going to rise 5, I want to run once to the left. So here's a quick example of rising 5 and 1 to the left. If I had a point here and I count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and go once to the left, you can see that my line's pointing upwards to the left, which means it has a negative slope. So let's try the next one. Next equation, y equals 3 over 4 times x plus 6. It's clear that my slope is 3 over 4. This means that my rise is 3 and my run is 4 to the right. The reason I want to go to the right is because this has a positive slope. So here's an example of going up 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4 to the left. Here we have a positive slope because it's going upwards to the right. Our third example, y equals 3x minus 2. Our slope is 3. I can rewrite any number as a fraction if I do 3 over 1, because 3 divided by 1 is 3. This means my rise is 3, and my run is 1 to the right. Because this has positive 3 slope, I want to make sure it goes to the right. At a point here, I could go upwards 1, 2, 3, and to the right. Now I'm clearly not looking at my y-intercepts correctly here, so let's do that correctly for the next two equations. In this equation, there is no number written in front of x, but there's only one x, and in math we don't always write it, but if there's just one variable, we don't have to put the 1. So our slope is 1. But how do you write 1 as a fraction? Well, it's 1 over 1, which means our rise is 1. And our run is 1 to the right, because this should be positive. So this time I'm actually going to graph this correctly. My y-intercept is at positive 4, my slope is 1. So I would put a point at positive 4 and then go up once over once. And that has a positive slope of 1. In my last example, we have negative x. All that means is that it is a negative 1x. So if negative 1 is my slope, I know I can rewrite this as negative 1 divided by 1. So my rise is still 1, and my run is going to be 1 to the left, because I want this to be negative. In this situation, my y-intercept was -6, so now I'm going to graph this properly, putting a point at -6 and going up once over once. Here I can see it has a negative slope because it's going upwards to the left. If you have any other questions about how to find the slope from an equation or what rise over run truly means, please be sure to ask me or stop by office hours. Thank you.